Hey guys, Justin with AmericanMuscle.com here with my detailed review of the Pypes off-road cat delete pipes available for your 2011 through 2014 Boss and GT Mustang. In this review, I'm going to cover what you can expect as far as benefits when installing a cat delete system like this from Pypes, what you're going to be looking at as far as basic materials, and then a quick little walkthrough on the install itself. And while the install is pretty basic in principle, you're looking at 2 bolts here at the flange, a basic clamp on the mid-pipe section, there is a little bit of work involved here, guys, and most of it is done underneath the car with a little bit of work through the engine bay. So I'm going to stretch this one up to a 2 out of 3 on the difficulty meter, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. You should be checking out this system from Pypes if you're looking to increase both the power and the sound in your Coyote-powered Boss or GT Mustang, and you're still working with the factory manifolds or an aftermarket set of shorty headers. Now this is very important to point out, guys, because obviously these things will not work with a set of long tube headers. With that said, however, this would be a good alternative to you guys at home who might be thinking about long tube headers but maybe don't have the money in the budget at this time or don't have the means to install them. So with that said, let's get a little further into this system from Pypes. Now, Pypes has a reputation within the industry here to produce some very budget-friendly stuff with the goal of increasing your sound, but without totally wrecking your budget in the process, and these things fall right in line with that. I would categorize these pipe deletes or cat deletes as a more entry-level or value option, but with that said, they're going to perform as intended. They have a very favorable rating on the site, and the customer reviews are all pretty awesome. Check them out if you haven't done so already. Now, the factory catalytic converters certainly serve their purpose. However, they can be a performance and sound killer on your GT or Boss build. Uncorking those factory cats using Pypes delete system here will not only increase the overall volume and just aggressiveness of your exhaust tone, but you can also look forward to a little bit more power as well thanks to the less restrictive flow. Now, yes, you can run the system from Pypes without a custom tune, but honestly, guys, you're gonna wanna pair this thing up with a custom tune, and the reason is twofold. First and foremost, you're gonna squeeze out a little bit more power along with that custom tune and the cat delete system here from Pypes, but in addition to that, you're also gonna be able to turn off that check engine light that's ultimately gonna say hi to you as soon as you delete those cats. As far as your basic construction, you're looking at 16 gauge 409 grade stainless steel throughout here, guys, 3-inch mandrel bent from tip to tip, factory style connection, 2-bolt flange here at the manifold side, ball and socket style flange at the mid-pipe side. They do include 2 pre-welded O2 bungs here. The welds don't look half bad, honestly, for being a value system, and they're even throwing in some brand new hardware and 2 clamps for you. Now, I did touch on fitment a little earlier in this video, but I do want to spend a little bit more time on that, guys, because I just want to clear up any confusion, make sure you're ordering the right part, and I want to make sure this thing is going to fit your ride. First and foremost, for your header or manifold side, this thing again will only fit a factory shorty manifold or your factory header or an additional aftermarket shorty header without issue. As far as the mid-pipe side of things, well, again, this kit will fit with your stock mid-pipe without issue or any aftermarket stock length mid-pipe, X or H pipe, it really doesn't matter here. Now, in my experience, guys, sticking with the same manufacturer for these parts, whether it be the cat deletes and your mid-pipe, will only result in the best fitment. Now, in this case, you might want to check out the Pypes stock length mid-pipes. They do offer both an X and an H pipe here on the site. And again, we do have some other options as well, but take my advice, stick with the pipe stuff, you'll get some good fitment. Finally, and I just want to remind you again, these will not work with any aftermarket long tubes out there. I know it might be pretty obvious to most of you guys at home, but if you didn't know, now you do. But perhaps one of the best things about this kit here from Pypes is the price, guys. I mentioned it earlier, I'll mention it again. Pypes as a brand, they're generally one of your more entry-level or budget-friendly brands out there, and that's certainly the case here with this system. Looking right around 150 bucks for the cat deletes, which seems reasonable given the materials you have here. But honestly, that's gonna peg the bang for your bucko-meter, at least in my opinion here, guys, because you're getting a whole bunch more sound, you're getting a little bit more performance out of adding this kit, but again, for not a whole lot of dough. And I do want to quickly mention as well, guys, if you don't have one of those mid-pipes we talked about a little bit earlier, one of those aftermarket mid-pipes, Pypes does offer a combo kit that pairs up the cat deletes here with a stock length X or H pipe that we talked about a little bit earlier, and the pricing is still very reasonable for the combo kit. In fact, it's the way I went when I first got my GT. I went with their off-road H pipe system, and I couldn't have been happier with the results. Switching gears, let's touch on the install. Obviously, much easier than a set of long tube headers, right? That goes without saying, but there still is a fair amount of work involved here. So I'm gonna go middle of the road, 2 out of 3 wrenches on my difficulty meter, maybe a couple of hours from start to finish to get these guys installed. As far as tools, you're looking at a few metric sockets, a bunch of extensions because there are a few bolts you'll need to hit through the engine bay there, and maybe a can of your favorite penetrating oil in case you run into some rusty bolts. Obviously, most of your work is done underneath the car here, guys, so jack and jack stands would suffice, but a lift would be ideal. Now, I did talk about that penetrating oil a little earlier, and that will just come in handy. Again, if you live in a snowy or salty area, those bolts might be a little tough to get off. If the WD-40 or your PB Blast doesn't cut it, try a little heat because that will ultimately be your best bet with removing stubborn exhaust bolts. Going even further, guys, it might not even be a bad idea to have a little tube of high temp RTV on hand because you shouldn't need it, but if you do encounter a small leak at the mid-pipe connection, you'll certainly be thankful you have it. All right, guys, at the end of the day here, this is a great bang for your buck mod that I've had installed on my very own car with great results. Now, if you're not willing or ready to fork out the dough for a set of long tubes or tackling the rather difficult install that goes along with them, this is a great compromise that will give you some good sound and power improvements. They're gonna be a lot easier on your wallet compared to those long tubes, and they're certainly gonna be a lot easier to install as well. So that's my review of the Pypes Cat Delete system, which you can find right here at AmericanMuscle.com.